everybody, this is Roxy, and I just wanted to share how I made this invitation for my niece's bridal shower. I used the Top Dog Dies mason jar die. I love this die. I've used it so much. Plus their finishing dies, or they call them finisher dies, and the Neat and Tangled Dollar Horse stamp set. So I wanted to just kind of first explain how I did this. I created a Word document for the type, all of the type, and I made a box. I'll show how to do that, but I just made a box that, I measured the width and the height that I wanted to use on the mason jar, made a box that size, and then filled in all of my type. Oops, these Target flags don't stick. Filled in all of my type, and then as I was printing off, like this is some really nice quality cardstock. So when I printed this piece off, I eliminated the middle section. I just put in returns on my Word document. Then when I went to print off this, I just grabbed this and put it in a new document and made a list of Patricia furlongs that would accommodate this die. Okay, when I printed it off, and I printed off on pattern paper. Same with the vellum. And for this I used the Graphics printable vellum. It's, I don't know if I can, clear inkjet, is that focusing? Yeah. Clear inkjet printable. And again with that one I created a new Word document with this type, pulled that in, and then just figured out the height of this and kind of put in some paragraphs so that the incidentals would fall towards the bottom of the label when I printed it out on the vellum. So I will show that in the Word document, and then I will also show how to, once you get your printout, it's going to be, I did it two boxes on an 8.5 by 11. So once you get that, you just cut that paper in half, and I'll show you how you can easily put your paper on here so that it is nice and centered when you die cut your mason jar. I also put a little pocket on the back. I covered the back, because it's after I stamped all my flowers on here, it showed through a little bit, so I covered the back. I wanted to cover the back anyways. And then I added a little pocket and a couple little mason jars from, oops, oh, that's just a registration, or she's registered at. And I did the same technique with this. I just put a bunch of these paragraphs with the information on a Word document, printed it out, and punched it out. So that is her little, and then I just stamped this with Milo's ABCs from Lawn Fawn. So that is the card. I've been getting some nice reviews on it from all the people that are coming. And so I will show you now how to do the Word document. Okay, so first what you want to do, and you know me and measuring, it's not pretty, but first what you want to do is measure the width of the mason jar, which is about 4 3/4. And the area that I want to have type in, I'm going to come up a little bit because it curves here, and I don't need to worry about that then. And then I'm going to come down below this. Also the lid on the, or actually the ring on the mason jar also curves, so I'm going to come down probably at 5 1/4. So that's the size box that I want to work with. And I also want to compensate for the stamping on the side. So that is going to be about 1 inch on either side. So I'm just going to put that as a note for me to remember And you don't have to do this. I mean, you could print it out on some, like it probably would print off fine on this or this paper, but I was going to use this font that is a little bit, it's not bold and it might be a little hard to read on some really detailed pattern paper. Like this would be fine, or this would not work. That would probably be fine. But you know, you'd have to test that out. But I kind of just wanted a white mason jar anyway. So. Okay, another measurement I'm going to need is this label, for this label, because I'm going to have to keep that empty with some paragraph breaks. So that is 3 inches deep. And you know, this is cheating because I already have it printed out, but I just need to know the depth of that label so I can put it in between the type that's going to be here. So I'm not gonna, so those are the measurements you need just to do the mason jar, not this yet. So okay, now I will show you how to do that on the Word document. Here's a blank Word document. I'm just gonna enlarge this a little bit. And what you first want to do is, in this case, it's 8.5 by 11. I don't need to change the margins on any of this because my labels or my jars are going to fit within that 8.5 by 11 size. So first what I want to do is to insert text boxes. I'm going to do one and just copy it. So I'm just going to make this 4 3/4 by 5 1/4, or probably 4 by 5 1/2, or whatever is fine, because then we can have a little bit more to work with. And actually, I want to make this 4 3/4 by, let's say, 5 1/2. Okay. And then I can just start my type. The type I used was Amatic SC, and this is a free font that I found on the internet. So I'm just going to type in some of my information. Okay. I'm just going to increase that font by probably a little more than that. And if I was doing this at 100%, that's actual percent. That's what it's really going to look like when you print it out. So, and then I just want to center this. So, I think I might want this a little wee bit bigger, and we'll see how that works. All right, then I want about 3 inches from here to the RSVP, because remember we're going to print all the other information on either pattern paper for the banner or the vellum piece. So let's say we're about, I think this might be okay. Excuse me, the RSVP can be smaller. And that's the Comcast number, so don't try to call it. All right, I think this can be a little bit smaller, just so that it doesn't take away from the information up here, and yet it remain readable. So now you want to change the text direction, and that is under Format, Text Direction, and I want it to go this way. You can do this way or that way. You want it horizontal, so then we're going to change our box shape so that we can really take a look at this and make sure it's going to be appropriately sized for the jar. So we've got 5 1/4, and then we want 4 3/4 is the actual size of the jar. So that's what we're going to put here. I'm going to move this out a little bit more. So now you want to change the text direction, and that is under Format, Text Direction, and I want it to go this way. You can do this way or that way. You want it horizontal, so then we're going to change our box shape so that we can really take a look at this and make sure it's going to be appropriately sized for the jar. So we've got 5 1/4, and then we want 4 3/4 is the actual size of the jar. So that's what we're going to put here. I'm going to move this out a little bit more. You don't have to worry about any screw bands or anything on the mason jar because we've got this empty space here, here, and up there. So you'll follow it when you see how we do this. So I'm going to want 2 on a page. So I'm going to copy and paste this down here. And this is where you do want space enough in between. So I'm just going to move this down, and I think it doesn't matter if these are lined up. The most important thing is if from here to the bottom is within that mason jar measurement of 5 3/4. Okay, and I would say that it is because it starts about at 1/4 of an inch and goes to just under 5 1/4. And then you want to make sure that this is 3 inches in between. So we've got about let's say 1 1/2, 2 1/2, 3 1/2, 4. So we might want to add another paragraph break. So I'm going to just do that on both of them, and we'll print it out and see how it looks. Okay, so here is where we're going to make a little template window, I guess, for your die. You're just going to take an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of paper, and you want to kind of keep it, this is just copy paper, you don't want anything thick because you know how die cutting machines can get temperamental. You don't want it thicker than your paper necessarily, and just because you want to. Okay, so I'm just going to tape this down, and you want to tape it obviously over the jar. And this technique that we're doing, you can use this with any shape. It's just a matter of having patience and measuring things a few times and putzing with type. I'm just going to tape this down. I use this technique also to cut out cool shapes from like photos and pictures, or you can use this even if you have like some really cool pattern paper that you want a certain part of that to show up on your cutout. This works great. So let me just pull that off. So there you go. There's your That's going to be your template once we cut it out. So just run it through. Excuse me. Okay. Now, when you want to test your... So now you can cut this in half. Actually, I think you have to cut it, yeah. You'll have to cut it maybe a little more than just in half so it'll fit in this template. Okay. And this is where, oh, that's another thing. I always go and mark centers so that, okay, so this is 6, so we want 3, just so you have like a really nice, make sure you kind of got the center thing going here. Your type is centered. And this template will last for, I think I did 45 invitations for this shower, and it lasted just fine. So I'm going to go. Okay. So now you can really center this in. Come on. If you can get hold of it. Okay, I need to cut a little bit off this side. And once you get this done, you don't have to do all this guessing. Okay. And then you want to make sure that this label die cut isn't going to impede or cover up any of your type. So I would just bring it down, because it's fine to have space above. So let's see how that looks. A little bit. There. So then, just to test out the label, make sure that we measured everything okay. Then you can just put this here, and in this case, it will be fine because this is not the true bottom of this label. It's more up here. So you're going to have enough space there. If you wanted to, I could put, or if I wanted to, I could put another short paragraph there. But, and this is getting a little tight because I cut it crooked. But it is good to go. So then you can, I'm just going to double check this. This wouldn't be different, but this actually just has a little more leeway because I didn't cut it so narrow. Yes, you need to cut a little bit off. It's a lot easier than what I'm showing. Because once you get all these measurements done, you can just snip off, like in this case, maybe about 1/4 of an inch on either side just to get this in here right. But once you get it done, it's your, I mean, I finished these in just minutes. They were good to go. And it's a lot of eyeballing too, you know. But you can always, if you wanted to, on your document, you could always put tick marks for the center of your box on your Word document if you wanted to get that perfect. So there you go. Then you print off all these, cut off, you know, what you need on either side to get it in here, and then just run them through. Same with the vellum. I'll show you how I did the vellum document for that information. That is on the Word document again. So here's the vellum piece, that larger mason jar label. And again, this is kind of just moving things around, printing it out on some cheap paper, do a quick fast printing so you're not wasting all of your ink. And just kind of moving these around so that they fit on the page. This was 8.5 by 11. My vellum paper is 8.5 by 11. So it worked out pretty well. I got 5 address labels or incidental labels to the sheet, and then just ran it through. Like I carefully measured and cut this down so that I could run this through my Big Shot and get those labels cut. Same with I'm not going to save this because I changed the addresses. Same with this one. That's the same with this one too. I just figured out how much space I needed for those banner die cuts, and then just printed this out on pattern paper, turned the paper around and printed it out again so that I'd get 2 rows. I didn't want to get futzy with making rows and tables and boxes, and so I just did it down and dirty. This is just typing in her name, putting a paragraph, and then copying it down. I think I've got 2 paragraphs, just one actually. I think I enlarged. Yeah, okay, so that is just the paragraph at 40, so I've got 40 point font for her name. And this is Chanel, it's actually spelled Channel, Channel, but I love this font, and it worked pretty well with the other font that I used on the jar. So I hope this isn't too confusing. It's super easy. I'm probably making it sound harder than what it is, but it's really just a matter of moving things around, printing it out, testing it, and once you get that prototype down, you can just bang them out. So I will go back to the label again and show you how I stamped it. Okay, so this is the label that came with the finishing die set, and then this is one from, I think it's Paper Smooches. They had a whole set of labels or banners. So I used 2 different ones because I kind of liked this better. I just felt that this almost overwhelmed, which, because her name is bold and a fancy font, it stands out enough. I just kind of felt like this one just really took over the front of the card. See the difference? And it gave a little more. I liked how it mimicked the curve of the jar better, where this one kind of, I don't know, I just like that one better. So to get the all the flowers, I just used, I love this dollar horse from Neat and Tangled. I used several of the little flowers, and then this flower, this red one, that's an old ancient, I think it's Hero Arts from years and years and years and years and years ago. And then this is also an old stamp from who knows where that I just had in my stash. Otherwise, the rest of them, nope, that's an old stash one too. Otherwise, the rest of them are just from the Neat and Tangled. Even the little dots, which is kind of popular right now to add little dots. I honestly don't know what that little thing is, but that's on here. But anyways, I used the little dots, the leaves, these little tiny flowers, and I just really like how it turned out. I had fun with it. My inspiration was some paper that I had. Not this one. I don't think I have any more of it left. Yeah, this one. From one of my Michael's paper pads that I recently picked up. So that's my own. Then I used, for colors, ink colors, I used Heidi Swap's archival ink. I love these. I think they really are pretty colors. I got them all on clearance at Michael's a little while ago, probably last winter, and they've served me well. So thanks for watching, and I hope if you have any questions, leave them underneath the video and I will answer to the best of my ability and knowledge. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I'm telling you to believe when I say